So today I want to talk about financial identity. That is the section of the course within my school community that I'm currently developing, and there's a couple of things that I've been working on this morning just before I've left. I'm on my way to the gym now, that I just thought I wanted to talk about and just put it out there because it's something that will apply to the vast majority of people. And if you understand it and you can implement changes from what I'm about to tell you, it can vastly improve your financial status. Maybe not immediately, but in the future, even by the end of this year, you will be able to make different decisions, feel differently, think differently with regards to finances, and finances are what they mean to you, what they are in your life, and what your future looks like. Because I was just sending a voice note to one of my one-on-one clients, John, and he's 25. He's in a circumstance at the moment where there's a little bit of financial turbulence within his business. So the thing that I was guiding him through this morning on a voice note was the fact that even when you're in these circumstances where you're being pressure tested, you've got to do whatever amount of work is necessary to maintain your composure and maintain the line of thought that you want to have. Because there's a lot of people that live their entire life with the same financial identity, and it's the identity that is largely imparted or imposed upon them by their parents and by their closer family members. And they'll say things to them like, we can't afford that. People like us don't get things like that. That isn't for our family. You know, our family doesn't have nice things like that. It's those kinds of things that are incredibly limiting and incredibly restrictive, and it prevents people from actually reaching for things that they are well capable of having. It's well within their capacity. Maybe not immediately, but if they learned what they needed to learn, they upskilled, and then made the necessary effort and worked diligently towards it, they would 1,000,000% be able to achieve it. But they don't even try, because their programming, their identity has been imposed upon them by their parents to have this belief system that they just can't have it. So why try? And I've worked with so many people and come into contact with so many people through social media, through my videos and things like that, who live that life. I've worked with people who have been in their 50s and 60s who have lived that life, and they've now worked with me, and they now see finances differently. They see themselves and what is capable, what they're capable of and what is possible differently. They've started to change their automatic, their emotional response to certain things. If you're driving down the street and you see somebody in a nice car, whether you see that car and you think, oh, I'll never have something like that, or it must be amazing having a car like that, I'd love to have a car like that, but that isn't, I'm never going to have a car like that, I could only dream of it. Whatever the emotional response is that gets triggered, that is very telling of the kind of financial identity that you've got. As I explained to my client, when I see an extremely nice car, an expensive car, I don't look at it and think, oh, I wish I could have a car like that, because if I want a car like that, I can have one. Again, maybe not right now, but in the future I will be able to. So I'll look at it, and instead of thinking I can't have that and set a restriction, an obstacle, a mental barrier in place, I look at it and I think about the colour of it. Would I have that car in that colour? What colour would I prefer to have that? What contrast with the interior and the exterior? I start to look at things like that. I plan what I would do with that thing if it was mine, instead of restricting myself from it and telling myself something that means that I can't have it. And you get that in every area of life. You might see a really beautiful person who you maybe you work with them, maybe you see them in passing, maybe you see them in the gym, and you would love to be with someone like that, or you wish you could be with someone like that, but deep down you think, they're out of my league, I've got no chance. So you don't do the things that are necessary to even put yourself in the arena of possibility. And that's the thing that I really want people to change. That's what I want you to change if you're still watching this video. Because how you look at finances, the way that you perceive and conceptualize money in your life is entirely up to you. It is not genetic. There is nothing hereditary about financial status. There are people who generationally are poor, and they are that way because they choose to be. And this isn't about manifestation or any bullshit like that. This is about the raw facts of what you have and haven't done. All of us right now, regardless of where you are in life, you right now are living the life that is the accumulation of all of the decisions and all of the actions that you have thought and you have made, you have taken over the last 5 to 10 years. That is true for all of us. And if you want different outcomes, you need to change the way that you think, the way that you perceive yourself, what you believe you are capable of, and you need to change the way that you act and the way that you live. And finances is a great place to start. Investing is another thing. People think of investing and think that it is either risky or it's something that rich people do. And it's not. It's just that you don't have the necessary education, the financial literacy, to understand how accessible it is to everybody and that it can be done at any level. And there's a benefit to it as well. There's a huge benefit. But in the voice note that I was sending my client, so as I said, he's 25, and I've worked with people before who've been his age, 30 years old, and they're already worrying about what they're going to do when they retire. And they're due to be retiring at like 65, right? They're 30 now. So you've got 35 years left before you retire. That's longer than the amount of time that you've already been alive, and you're terrified that they're going to be in the same position at that point when they retire in 35 years as they are now at 30. That tells me immediately that their financial identity is one of incredible restriction. They believe that they will financially be where they are right now at 30 when they're 65. They are never going to change. They are not going to grow. It isn't going to improve. And that's completely false. Caveat: it can be completely false, because you can completely change your life financially within a matter of months, certainly within a year. But most people never do, because they continue running that internal narrative, that belief system of they are where they are and it is where they're always going to be, and it's just not the case. So if you are one of those people and you think in this incredibly restrictive, limited mentality when it comes to money, you have to start challenging the way that you conceptualize money, what is meant for you, what you are capable of, what you can have in the future if you so choose. Because what you believe you can have is what you will work to. So if you've got an incredible limitation on how wealthy you believe you can become, it's going to limit how hard you're going to work at all. So you can end up putting yourself in a position where you live a much poorer life than what you should do, simply because you believe that you're not capable of having more. It's just not true. 10 years ago, I was living in a little 2-bed apartment with my 3 children, and there was a lot of bills that I was struggling to pay. At one point, for quite a while, I had to make the decision of which bills I was going to pay this month and which bills I weren't, and then the following month, I would reverse them. So the bills that got paid last month didn't get paid this month. The ones that didn't get paid last month got paid this month. And it was a constant stepping stone, just so that I could try to keep things as balanced as possible. And it was the only way that it would work. And yeah, there were times when a bill that didn't get paid last month also couldn't be paid this month. It's just the way it is. It's what happened. But now thankfully I'm in a completely different position. And the reason why I am in such a different position is due to the fact that I didn't allow myself to believe that that is the life that I was going to continue living. I didn't allow myself to accept that that was the limitation, that was the life that I was going to continue living, that was the life that my children were going to be subject to forever, because that isn't what I wanted for them, and it wasn't what I wanted for myself. So I did whatever was necessary to get us out of it. And it can be a lot of work, but it's worth it, because at the end of the day, it's your fucking life. You are trying to piece your life together. And the beauty of it is that you can choose what you want it to be. But if you never challenge the belief systems that have been imposed upon you by your parents, then you're going to end up living their life. You're going to end up living your life with their mentality, their voices in the back of your head, your dad's lack of belief of growth, if that is the way that your dad is. And it's a really dangerous thing to do. Very dangerous thing to do. You should always live your life based off what you believe, what you think, what you feel, and spend whatever time is necessary to actually create that, cultivate that. And not a lot of people do. Not a lot of people do. Another thing that most people don't know is core values. A lot of people don't know what their core values are. It's another thing that they dogmatically just perpetuate whatever their parents have told them to believe, which again is very harmful. You know, like what you believe politically, from a religious standpoint, for family, for relationships, for finances, socially, psychologically, those things. If you don't know what you believe for each of those areas of a core value, it makes it almost impossible to pick a partner that you are going to bond with and have very high compatibility with. Doesn't mean that you'll never find it, but if you do, the chances are you've just got lucky. Whereas when you know what your core values are, you can use those to measure the person that you sat across the table from. Then you know whether you connect or not, because you know what it is that you bond over. And we don't bond with a partner that we're going to spend the rest of our lives with over favourite colours, favourite TV programmes, where we want to go on holiday and shit like that. That's all the superficial stuff. Yeah, it bothers me though how many people never do the due diligence on these kinds of things and end up living a far worse life than they should live, and forever miss out on the life that they could. That's why I'm doing this video just rambling in my car, just off the back of the voice note that I sent to my client, because I want as many people as possible to improve their life. Even if you don't join my community, you don't follow me on social media, I never speak to you directly. If all you ever do is watch my YouTube videos and you benefit from my YouTube videos, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. The whole purpose of starting YouTube was so that I can have a new audience and I can help more people. The whole purpose of starting my school communities was the same thing. So yeah, if there is any questions that you've got off the back of what I've just said, then comment and I will get back to you as soon as I can.